All right, today we have Jure and Swanand. Oh, and this is the essentially the fifth place match of season two of Calculation League. They are the final match of the final stage. Jure would need to win this match by 16 points in order to pass Swanand in the standings. Um, Jure is a Bosnian mental calculator. He was our most improved competitor for season two. Swanand is a from India and has competed at the Mental Calculation World Cup in 2024, finishing sixth place. He's also competed at the JMCWC and the MSO. These two have very different styles. In their own way, they both have significant strengths, but different styles. Sunand has very high processing speed, um, extremely high ability to do the shorter and medium difficulty questions. Jure has a very, very good memory and visualization ability. Um, he he had some experience before competing with memorization competitions, but he clearly has shown throughout this competition the ability to do multi-step questions and visualize significant number of digits while doing them. So we are here a minute and a half in. It is 7-7. They are almost exactly tied here. You're literally a fraction of a second ahead. Um, Part of the format here in Calculation League depends on the what kind of questions you get. There's a huge variety of question formats, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky. Um, there's variance in the difficulty of matches, as you can see in these questions. Some of them are relatively easy, and some of them are um, possibly even crossing over into humanly impossible. So in this sort of today, I think it is to Sunan's advantage to have a faster match or an easier match, and it is to Yure's likely advantage to have a more difficult match. Um, but it can really depend on the question formats. We have multi-operation question formats, which is what is on the screen right now. These question formats are just a mix of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and they're sort of almost randomly generated with some limits. And then we have a custom or list questions, which are questions that are similar to what people would get in certain mental calculation competitions. Um, and these can sometimes involve more advanced operations like roots and exponents, and a couple other things, which I'll try to point out. So we are now 3 minutes in, and it is still functionally tied. Sunand has a 2 second lead. He is able to solve that question. Relatively difficult, and it looks like Jure is running out of time. Yes. Okay, so Sunand now has a small lead. This is the kind of question that this is very difficult, but Jure has a chance here maybe to get that point back. It's a lot of zeros. Nope. All right, so Sunand opening up a little bit of a lead, but we have the match time here. It's minimum 20 minutes. Somebody gets a 50-point lead. Between 20 and 40 minutes, the match ends. Very, very unlikely for that to happen today. Otherwise, for a finals stage match here, the default time is 40 minutes. You have to have a 5-point lead, otherwise, it extends indefinitely. Um, right now, Sunan very, very good at cross multiplication, although he had to. He got it. So Sunan's specialty, probably addition, 3-digit flash Anzan. And last fall, he briefly set the Memoriad record for standard addition, until Aryan took it. But he extremely good addition, and yeah, that was very impressive there, taking the average of those sums. So 9 point lead now. We're 5 minutes in. Jure's strength is probably more on division and multi-step, certainly multi-step questions. Um, Also, there are definitely some complex formats that Jure has done a very good job in. Um, okay. So, approaching 6 minutes, went on up to a 6 point lead. He's got an addition question here. Ooh, 4 digits going. Yeah, very very fast time there. Okay, sum of squares. You have to have 4 integers that their squares add up to the number on the screen. All integers can be represented as a sum of at most 4 squares. So as you can see in some of these multi-operation questions, the difficulty varies a lot. You could conceivably get, in a final stage match, the multiplication of 10 3-digit numbers, which is it is humanly impossible to do within 30 seconds. So once in a while, you sort of have a mandated 30-second break. On the other hand, you could get the very, very simple question. I think, you could get a question that's 1 times 0 times 0, I think. 1 plus 1 plus 1. But the difficulty varies a lot. This is a very difficult question Swanand has here. You've got to create the 6-digit number through the additions, and then you've got to take the square root. You're only going to need 1 decimal place here to get it correct. You have to do it twice, and you have to answer to the nearest integer. You can see that there Sunan's submit answer button turned yellow. That means he has 1 guess left. You are allowed 5 guesses within 30 seconds, and then your button will turn red, and you have to wait for the next question. Okay, Jure solving the sum of squares question now. He's running out of time. Oh, okay. So Jure, we're past 8 minutes here. Swanand with a 4-point lead. Jure has a chance here to make up some ground. That is a rather difficult question on the screen. Yeah, that's that. Swanand also with a very difficult question here. He's got too many numbers in the numerator here, and estimating this answer is not going to be easy. Okay, so Jure with the square root question, very difficult. You could probably make a credible attempt to estimate this by doing simply doing 2 or 3 digits for each part of the question, but he oh, okay. All right, so Swanand with another multi-operation here. This one is less than 1. You need 2 significant digits for questions that where the answer is between -1 and 1. So he only needs to answer the first 2. He got it there. This is now he has a question which is a similar to the mental calculation World Cup surprise task question, but it is actually a significantly more difficult version of it. And that looks, you're either going to have to be very quick. Yeah, that's a very difficult question. you're right here with one guess left on this multi sort of A times B divided by C times D. You're gonna have to try to estimate. He got it 147. He likely estimating making it A over C times B over D, and trying to do it to sufficient degrees of accuracy to make the answer correct. So none with a 3-point lead here as we're past 10.5 minutes. He has a very similar version of that question now, but this is a much easier version. It looks like 1.2 to me. No, 1.3 or 1.1, so then it's one of those. It is very difficult when you are competing 40-minute stretch, even a 20-minute stretch, when you are being given a huge variety of questions. You have to maintain your focus, your accuracy, be composed under pressure, and it's very easy to forget a negative. Answer positive when the answer is actually negative, or to be off by an order of magnitude because you're sort of just you're racing and you didn't get the you missed a place somewhere in it. So now 3-point lead, 11.5 minutes in. We do keep detailed stats for our matches, but because of the variety of questions that are used, it can be very difficult to compare the stats. I will say the stats for this match indicate, based on recent performance, that Swanand is a slight favorite in the match, but that it is essentially an even match, with maybe Swanand favored to win by 5 to 10 points. But again, that is sort of an overgeneralization because of how difficult the questions are. I think, Swanand he has a mod question here, but because of those zeros, that definitely looks like a doable question for him, even if the digits are large. Very difficult question for Jure. You could try to do cross multiplication on the first part, add it to the second part, but that is very difficult. Okay, fourth root minus a division. This is somewhat inspired by the mental calculation World Cup tasks, where we were comparing roots and exponents and division questions and trying to figure out which ones are larger or smaller. Somewhat similar. We don't use greater than, less than formats in this competition. Jure knows that's a question he could have gotten. Now we're back. Now Jure has the mod question. We are at 13.5 minutes, Swanand with a 1-point lead here. Might be getting a little tired. Easy to get frustrated when you make a couple mistakes. All right, so run with the basic cross multiplication question. Unlike standard format, we use off-balanced cross multiplication questions, so they don't have to be the same amount of digits in each number. Sometimes this can throw people off when they're used to practicing 5 by 5, 8 by 8, but he's got it. Now he's got sum of squares. That one's not bad. And now his preferred format here, standard addition. That was a good stretch. He built his lead back up a little bit. We are on 15 minutes. Swanand up 4. Almost exactly in line with what the stats would have predicted. Seems to be a roughly sort of medium difficulty match so far, although it's kind of subjective. Okay, Swanand here. That is a very, very difficult question. He's going to take a 30-second break. Jure, cross multiplication, not really his specialty here. Cross multiplication primarily useful for multiplying quite large numbers. If you're not used to practicing a times b multiplication of large numbers, then there wouldn't be much a reason to have developed your skill with cross multiplication. Sum of squares question though, he will get this easy. Addition is more something that pretty much everybody involved, not everybody, but pretty much everybody involved is comfortable with. Almost everybody has to learn addition at some point. All right, Swanand here, very, very difficult. There's a lot of zeros in this answer. Jure's question, a minus b divided by c minus d. You've only got four digits in the denominator. Probably going to need to estimate it, but yeah. Oh, he's got a D. Oh, he got it. That's good point there. I do not recall if Swanand answered it correctly or not. 17 minutes. Swanand up 5. Jure is going to have to take a break, I think, on this one. Mod questions. If you're unfamiliar with mod is a division. The answer to the mod is the remainder. Okay, now we have some system of equations. This is something that doesn't have much previous use, if any, in mental calculation competitions. These questions can vary from relatively easy to extraordinarily difficult, depending on what you get. Here, you can isolate the z's based on those first two equations, probably solve the z, and then you're going to have to use those to try to figure out the x and the y with very little time to do so. Okay, so we have, this is a 1 divided by 1/700th plus 129. You simply multiply 729, 20,300, and then divide it by 729, so none gets it right. All right. Jure, I think, has a little opportunity here to cut into the advantage on these multi-operation longer questions. This is very difficult, but let's see if he's going to make a effort here. That's a lot. That's going to be a lot of zeros. In a question like this, you can only make an effort to estimate. You've got to hope that you are. Yeah, that's a lot of zeros. Okay, so Swanand up 3. We just hit 19 minutes, so obviously the minimum match time 20 minutes, but a 50-point lead is not going to happen today. So one very easy question. Okay, so he has right now, this is a square root of a 9-digit number to 4 decimal places. Rather than write on the screen how many decimal places are required for the square root, we've used this notation of times a certain number. If it's times 10,000, you need 4 decimal places. So this is 9 significant digits, one more than the typical that we do. I think it's 9. He's typed in 10 now. Now he has, this is a question that probably, you're going to estimate this, the question that's on the screen. He's got 3 fractions, add them together, multiply by 95. You're going to want to estimate those first 3 fractions. Doable question, but it's gonna require an estimate. He made an effort there, didn't work, but good. Looks like he made a good effort. All right, we have very very close match here. 21 minutes, Swanand up 3. As Jure going to need some of these multi-operation questions, these longer ones, to cut into it. It's a very difficult square root with 1 extra digit of accuracy. Also a little bit harder because the longer the number is, the more non-zeros you're working with, and probably makes it a little bit more difficult. Simple, one number on the numerator, 2 on the denominator. You should be able to estimate this. You got to make sure it's accurate enough though. Jure might be able to come up with a point on this question. 102. He got it. I couldn't see what that last number was. It looked like 102 though. Swanand's answer just a few off. This is another one inspired by the MCWC surprise task. You've got the division minus the square. Doable question, but also not particularly easy. Swanand has a similar version to this, but a cube root divided by a division. All right, this is the first example I've noticed of the abnormal exponents. So in this particular one, the best way to attempt to solve these would probably be, for most people, using logarithms. This particular one, you could probably square 563 and then attempt to take the 5th root and multiply the 5th root of it, but not easy to do. Doing a 5th root of a number is not something that most people are comfortable doing. All right, here Jure might be able to claw back some time on this question. Yep. Okay, so we're down to 1 here. 1 point advantage for Swanand. Jure's got, this is a challenge question here. Not able to get it. We don't usually require much in the way of significant accuracy for those significant digits for those questions. Okay, we're getting into a stretch here of what looks easier questions. This is a good question for Swanand, average of 7 numbers. Man, he did that quickly. He's now back to this even more difficult version of the MCWC task. I think the way that you would do this, if you are capable of doing it, would be to break apart the 4-digit numbers, do 2 times 3, add those up, get your last 2 digits, and then do it again. Very going to be very difficult to pull off. Swanand has this question here, which is 54 times 54 times 49. Very doable. Or 4.9, sorry, not 49. There, he got it. Easy square root question here. Oh, there we go. At this point, they've been doing calculations for more than 25 minutes, almost essentially non-stop, although it's obviously once in a while they get a question that causes a little break. But it's very different than the normal competitions, which are, MCWC does 10 minutes. Many other competitions are sort of short bursts of calculation activity, but this is a huge variety of questions that just keep coming here. Swanand has this question: a times b plus c times d. I think with the numbers of these size, you're just going to cross multiply them. You're going to cross multiply the top and then the bottom, get one digit, keep moving. Not particularly easy to do, but doable question if you're very comfortable with cross multiplication. We did just get through a stretch with a couple large additions, which likely means that Swanand has or will get a little bit back on his advantage. Important though that Jure gets the point here and can get this question solved within 30 seconds. And he's running out of time. No, he did not. Okay, so Swanand up to 27 minutes in. Another addition question here for Swanand. Swanand will also be competing in the MSO finals. I do not know actually when or if the final date has been scheduled. He got 6th place in Calculation League Season 1. He got 6th place in the Mental Calculation World Cup in 2024. He, my understanding is finished 5th place in the last round of the MSO, and is almost certainly going to finish in 5th place in Calculation League Season 2. Jure, new to calculation competitions at the international level with Calculation League Season 1. He finished 9th place in Season 1, and he will finish 6th place here in Season 2, but he was our most significantly improved competitor from Season 1. Developed his skills and strategy quite a bit, moved past some very experienced competitors in the final standings, including myself and Domenico Mancuso. So we've hit 29 minutes now. Swanand still with it, just a tiny lead. This is an interesting question for you. 19 to the 7th power divided by 63. Doable, very doable question, but you're gonna have to have focus. I think he's 29 minutes in. Does he still have the focus? Okay. Yeah, so I don't know about that question. Yeah. So you're a 5th root here of a 13-digit number. So the answer is going to be three digits. You can break that. You can try to, let's see. He got it, didn't he? He did get the point, so that I'm assuming that cuts into the deficit here a little bit. Another interesting question. Squaring 994, not difficult. It is simply 988,036. 6 to 6, not difficult either, but now doing the 37 cubed and dividing it, rather difficult. Okay, Sunand's cross multiplication question now should be a comfortable point for him as long as he can maintain the accuracy doing it. And Jure has the MCWC surprise task, the increased difficulty version of it, which has come up a disproportionate amount of times in this match, and I'm not sure it's resulted in points. It's quite a difficult question. So on with a 7th root. I think the answer to this Swanand's question is not going to be particularly large. You could make an effort to estimate this. I have no idea whether this is a plausible question. All right, division question for Jure. We're coming up on 32 minutes. Swanand is up 6 points now, so he has to stay above the 5 in order for the match to end at 40 minutes. Otherwise, it will continue going until somebody hits a 5-point lead. The match actually will stop at 60 minutes in a situation where nobody gets a 5-point lead, and it would be declared a tie. But that has not happened in our playoff stage this season. We did have one regular season tie, which actually occurred in a tiebreaker match. All right, some difficult root questions here. No. Basic addition question for Simone, 8 by 4. Answer will be 4 digits. And Jure has pulled into a tie here. This is Jure, a very difficult mod question, and I think he is doing it correctly, which is something I don't see many people actually attempting to do. That's a very difficult question. You're gonna want to figure out the integer answer and then do the cross multiplication from right to left, but that is extremely difficult, and I'm not sure that many people even know that this would be the way to solve it. Did he get that right? If he did, that's very impressive. We are back tied here. Swanand should be able to do these questions. I'm not sure if he is comfortable with what the approach to the questions is. And now we moved on. 866 times 887. We are tied here. Just over 5 minutes remaining here in regulation, but unless somebody makes a significant mistake, I don't know if this is going to end at 40 minutes here. This is a very doable question here for Jure. I think he's put in 3 guesses already. He got it. Okay. Jure now attempting that A times B minus C times D, and we'll see if he can pull off the question in 30 seconds. But again, as this is a question, Swanand with the advantage in both cross multiplication and addition, he should be able. I think he should be able to do the question in time. Now he's running out of time. Swanand large A times B times C here. And Jure here with pulling off the comeback, leaning in pretty far to his screen here. We cannot see him, although interesting. I'm maybe using a different laptop. I'm not sure. He typically does not lean in that far. Swanand looking tired. In season 1, we had a win by 10 rule in the playoffs. We had 2 matches that went for 60 minutes. Swanand against Abalaksha against Rahul. Exhausting matches, especially the Swanand versus Abalaksha match, which was difficult questions and they were very, very close for almost the whole match. Swanand looking tired here. That's a 110 in the denominator. I'm surprised he didn't get it. That's easy. He's got that. So the interesting thing here as we move further is that Swanand is slightly ahead in the questions, meaning he has gone further than Jure, but the match is tied because Jure has gotten a few questions right that Swanand did not get right, although Swanand has faster overall speed, which always presents the possibility that Swanand could get a little batch of easy questions that he can get through fast enough to take back the lead and maybe get a 5-point lead. We are at 37 and a half minutes, 2.5 minutes left. Jure up by 1 point. Okay, Swanand here. There's another example of a non-standard route. 98,183 to the 0.4. So this answer is you take the 5th root of 98,183 and square it, or and he is not that unless I was missing something. That answer was just under 100. Difficult question here for Swanand. Lots of zeros on that. Jure building a 4-point lead now. So we are at the point where Jure could win this match. On the other hand, Swanand could get to a batch of easier questions and extend this match quite a period of time. Jure rather quickly answering that question to the 0.4. Very critical for him. He is up 6 now. We are 7. We are approaching 39 minutes. It's quite a comeback. Swanand gets that square root here, 5-digit number to 5 decimal places. He's got to get through this question. He's got to erase that decimal point there. That is too many. He's answering too many digits here. He's going to go back. Oh, he did not get it correct. 30 seconds left here. He's got to hope. He's got easy question. That looks doable, difficult. Jure doing standard addition, 8 over pretty standard addition, 8 divided by 4. He did not get it. That opportunity here for Swanand, 5-point lead. That is difficult, and that looks like it is match over. Final question here. Swanand not going to be able to answer that question within the time period. So once we get to 2400, the match will end when Swanand's timer expires, or Jure submits an answer here. And that is it.
Good game.